This is Pranav Guha Thakur from Edu TV. Today, we are with the great personalities, in fact, the legends of the education industry in India, Professor Kamlesh Mishra, who is the Vice Chancellor of Rishut University and has set up many private universities in India, like Oro University, GD Goenka University, and he was also the Vice Chancellor of Ansal's Universities. And then we have with us Mr. Uttam Kumar Jha. He's an educationist for a pretty long time, and he's heading one of the best school of Indore, Chaitram International School. Chetan is the editor-in-chief of India Ahead News. He's also a parent. So we wanted to have a school's perspective, higher education perspective, and a parent's perspective. That day, I think Professor Mishra was there. We had a student's perspective also. That also. So, Jha Sahab, I think the highest number of students are with the schools in India and who are very regular and are quite dependent on the school. So what is your advice? What is your suggestion? You have seen these things from last 1.5 week. So what do you think? How should things go? Is this online teaching through schools, is it really working properly? So what is your suggestion, sir, and advice?
So the schools, I don't know when the school is going to reopen, but during this lockdown period, we are sending the videos, even the worksheets, even the assignments, even we are sending the notes also to the children to study, and then we are assessing them, we are talking to them, and we are finding how much they have understood and how much they have grasped. So all those processes are on, but the school is much more required, because this is not going to help further. And we normally begin the session early for class 10th and 12th. But this time it is going to be delayed, and because the CBSE is going to curtail some syllabus, or we have to manage the whole syllabus in the stipulated time, whatever it does. So we are not known about that. And the children are working hard. They are serious about it, and because they have developed some kind of a daily routine now. Earlier it was not there, but now they have developed some routine. They are getting up early. They are even doing meditation. They are spending some time with their parents and strengthening their bonding. Also, the parents are also quite helpful. And because they were also not getting, the parents were also not getting enough time with the children. And this lockdown is very good for the parents to make a good bonding with the children. That, so this process is quite okay right now. And let's see after 14th with what limitations the lockdown would be over, and we would come to our workplace, and then the things would be smooth to work.
Professor Mishra, as you have taught in India, abroad, best of the institutions, you have studied in best of the institution. Sir, all the students who just wrote their class 12 examination, either their one or two papers are left, and they are quite worried about which all universities they can join, because there is no connection between universities and schools, because otherwise in conventional things, other newspaper ads, online, or they could have visited the institutions, lot of activities were there. Sir, what is your message? How the students can keep calm and prepare for higher education?
Okay, so see, I think the students who had planned to go abroad from the very beginning, not those who make a last-minute plan, but those who had always intended that after class 12 they are going to go outside to some other country to study. Most of them would have already filled in their forms. Early admissions are declared by January itself. The early admissions list comes out. Some come out in February, March, and there are a number of them which will come out around May, June also. But most of the application processes are completed by end of January. Most of them, in at least the good universities. So, most of those students would have either already got admissions or they must be in the process of hearing anytime. So I don't think that there is a issue as far as that is concerned. I think what is going to be an issue is when are these universities going to actually start the sessions? That's where the complication is going to be, because normally, for example, let's say if you look at the United States, the sessions start sometimes in September, or August, September is the time
Yeah.
that it starts. If everything settles down by May, June, it is possible that things will begin to roll back and universities may continue to maintain their sessions. However, if things go bad in the United States, which is being expected in the next 2 weeks, probably we'll have a better idea, then the sessions may not start in time, and there may be some delays. So the uncertainty is more about how fast we are going to get over the current problem. I don't think it's an uncertainty about admissions. Most students have already got admissions, right? And even if those who have not got admission and they're applying to some other countries, it is only the process that gets delayed. Nothing else is, it's not that it's going to stop. I don't think there is going to be a zero session. At least at this point, there is no reason for us to believe that the world is going to declare it as a zero session. Even it may get pushed to October, November, but I think we will have the sessions. So the other is the question of their admissions in the Indian universities. Well, I don't think there is anything to worry except that the processes will get delayed. There is no doubt about it. And probably we'll know more by 14th of this month, which I feel is going to extend till the end of April in one form or the other, with some normalization in some areas. But in most places, I think the lockdown will still continue. And personally, I feel it should continue so that we are safe and we don't have to deal with it for a longer period at a later time. So I think students should not worry about it. The universities will be open. They are already open at this point. There is a lot of confusion at this point because some of the students have not finished their class 12 examinations. What's going to happen to that? When are the results going to come out? Admissions will happen only after the results come out, unless the CBSE comes up with some fancy way of saying that, okay, there are only some courses left for the exams, that if there is going to be some internal process with which they can get them out, because most of the main exams are all done, right? So my advice at this time is don't get worried too much. It's going to happen. There will be a delay, but I don't think there is anything to worry. At this point, if students have time, besides their work that they are doing online, I think they should continue to find out which universities they want to go, what kind of courses they want. Everything is available online. Everything is happening.
Correct. I agree.
They just need to shift their mind from one-to-one personal to online mode, right? Even online, see, we are pushing the online at this point. We are pushing it to an extent that we have never done it before because we have no choice, right? It's not very easy for our students to get into that mode. Remember that in India, our education system is in a very, very controlled environment, right? All of a sudden, we remove that whole controlled environmental system and we hope that they will comply with it. And they're able to do it as a self-discipline. So let us see. It's a great experiment. I'm not against it, but there are challenges. But my advice is, don't worry, be relaxed. It's not going to be the end of the world. Things will come back to normal and life will go on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the insight, Professor Mishra. Now we have Mr. Chetan Sharma with us. I think Mr. Chetan's kid has just given class 12th examination, and I think few papers are also left. So what is how are you feeling as a father of a student who has given class 12th examination and has to take up a university also and is waiting for the result also? Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, as a father, I feel very good simply because I've never spent so much of time with my daughter
Good.
as I have over the last 7 years. I think that's quite a welcome thing. So I'll talk to you on two accounts, Pranav. First, I must compliment you and your team for the wonderful job that you're doing. I think this is also a service that you're doing to the nation, and I'm very grateful that you're doing it for that.
I think great
Now,
news to
I'll talk to you on
Professor
two
Mishra.
accounts. One of them,
Yes.
all right. So I will talk as a journalist, an editor, as well as a parent. So
Chetan is the editor
the
of
reason why I'm going to
India
talk on
News
both
Ahead.
accounts is because I had, India Ahead News.
Yes, yes.
So I had the privilege of speaking to the AICTE chairman, Mr. Chetan, on one of my shows, a week before last, and I asked him that question. Look, I told him I have a bias. My daughter's, has given 3 out of 5 papers, and she believes that she doesn't have to give any more, and perhaps your board will be giving them a waiver for the balance exams. I said that in a joke, and he was like, no, not at all. In fact, it is going to happen, believe me. So you can please put all those doubts into rest. You can ask her that yes, she has a reprieve, but the exam is going to happen, and they are working out very creative ways to enable it. So that's where that doubt was put to the wheel, and I told my daughter, please go back to your books as and when you can.
Good.
Now, the other thing I did tell her was that, look, you have had we're living in the most unfortunate and uncertain of times, yet your best learning will never be from the books. You are seeing something which none of us would ever be hopefully seeing again in our lives. So whatever you can observe and learn from the outside world right now, do that. Maintain a diary, make an account. And this is what you will, when you go back, down the years and look back at these times, you will remember a lot, you learn a lot, when you discuss it with your friends. This is my advice to her as a parent. Now, in terms of the uncertainty that is there, you see the uncertainty, Pranav, is there for every single thing. It's for life, it's for livelihood even more. And yes, to a much lesser extent, but within the realms of their little understanding of life, it's very important for them to have some realms of certainty. So the first week was restful, now it's getting restless. And I think we need to channelize that, that energy in a very creative and a very potent manner. The big challenge which I see is on 3 or 4 accounts, and I mentioned that to Mr. Sehstrabudhi as well. It's not so much as the ability of the student to adjust to digital learning, and they've been brought up in a digital world. So for them to adjust is not a problem, except for the fact that they can't, be mischievous, or talk, behind the back to their friends and all that. That'll be a bit of a dampener for them. But otherwise, I think the bigger challenge lies with the teachers. I think their impediment of teaching by a mechanism is far greater than the student. So I think that is one challenge we've got to contend with. The other thing is that the overall scenario. See, we do not even know the extent of the problem in India. Let's be very clear. Now again, put on the journalistic hat when I say our testing levels are so abysmally low. It's the lowest in the world. So for us to believe that the numbers that are coming out are really actual is not fair. And I say that not with taking a hazardous guess as to what the numbers could be or to create a sense of panic, but more to be realistic as to how far and how long could the lockdown contend with. And why I'm saying that is because that is a direct relationship to the examination for the students and the possibility of, till when can this continue? Because, you have to start your college, whether it's locally or overseas. So that's one thing to contend with, to understand that. So there will be uncertainty. And the second thing is that, one is also to believe that even if we're able to, hopefully, by the grace of God, tackle this problem right now, there's nothing to suggest that it's not going to re-erupt in the latter part of the year. Now, if that happens, then what do you do? So would it be a safest mechanism to have the entire year, come what may, on a digital platform? An experiment for something that could be very well be the future for all of us. I mean, those are a few of the things that I had to say for this.
Wonderful. Mr. Jha, as a journalist, Chetan has pointed out, like the students, the kids, They are millennial kids. They are into digital platform. They know what digital is. They have been using digital things from this time they were born. It is a challenge for a bit of challenge for the teachers. What you have to say on that, Jhasa?
Teachers, definitely it's a challenge for them because they were not used to of teaching online, and they were not making those videos even while teaching on the board. And but now they have created a kind of a classroom with a board, whiteboard, and putting a camera and making a video, and that is quite challenging for the teachers because everybody is not that internet savvy, and the kind of bandwidth, the connection, the facilities the teachers have, that also to be seen, and they normally prefer to interact with the children rather than one-way teaching process, because this is the present way of teaching and learning, that you have to basically monitor the children's learning. It's not that you have to communicate or give the content to the children as such. You have to understand how the children is learning. So that is why it is both-way communication, and somehow this both-way communication is not taking place, and that is the real challenge. So we have already suggested, even the teachers are also trying to talk to them rather than only seeing the online videos, because they have to put their doubts and the queries in front of the teachers, and the teachers have to solve them. So that process they are finding little difficult, but now, because with the days going on and there is uncertainty when it is going to be reopened, so they have to prepare them. There is no choice now with the teachers, and if they have to survive with this present scenario, then they have to learn those, and they have to develop those ability to train the children online. And that process they're training it, and we are also having some video conferencing, taking them in through video conferencing, giving some learning training as such for online training to the children. So this is also the process we are carrying out. We are having the video conferencing with the teachers and telling them how to go about it, and how to plan things, and how to take the follow-ups, talk to their parents also, involve them also. So all those processes are on, but even it is taking some time, and I'm sure with the days, this would be a continuous process, and the teacher would also be trained into it.
Wonderful. Thanks. Professor Mishra, as Mr. Chetan said, we can put everything on digital. Sir, what are the, as you had been into, you have seen this industry very closely, and you have made this industry grow also. Sir, where are the scopes of improvement in our school and university sector for digital learning in a big way?
See, one of the problems that we face is that in India, everything is highly regulated. For things to open up, it takes time. Sometimes it takes a crisis. Online learning is not open to everybody. For example, universities and colleges cannot give online degrees, right? There is a regulatory process. Now, if for example, that was already prevalent in India and a lot of universities were already part of it, then our capacity and our strength to go digital would have been much higher than what it is today. Second is that I'm not as much worried as I should be for the urban India.
Correct.
Because we may be able to find solutions, and my children or your children or Chetan's children who have been brought up in urban areas and have facilities and access, it's much easier for them to go through that transition. But what about those students who are in rural areas where the digital
very correct
divide still exists? Although everybody has a phone, but maybe we are not able to reach out in the same way that we are in urban areas. That maybe the bandwidth doesn't exist, right? I know somebody has in UP who was having a discussion with me, and I was trying to help them go digital through Zoom. And it's a rural area. And he said that only about 5% of the students were able to have access to the online learning that they were trying to provide. So, you know, we still have a long way. There is an issue. Yes, I can clearly see that because of this problem that we have been faced with, I think the digital campaign of India is going to just take off. We really now are going to be completely digital everywhere, whether it is education, whether it is finance, whether it is marketing. I think in another 10 days we'll get so used to this whole system of having meetings and teaching digitally that for us to go back, we'll start thinking, are we doing the right thing? You know. So some kind of a blended model will have to emerge.
Evolve.
So that's, but I'm really scared of that part of India which doesn't have access to it. What do we do with them?
May I just comment on?
Yeah, Chetan.
Sure. I think thank you for bringing that up. Again, I'm going to don the journalist hat. And, you know, the channel I run, we call it India, It's Good News. And my philosophy in that channel is to not look at problems, but look at solutions. You know, that's something that we try to reach out to and try to do. And look at the positive side of things. So let me just draw a couple of positives from what you said. I think one you mentioned very correctly, that this is going to catalyze a digital India. We've heard promises, and we've done very well on the mobile network front, on the connectivity front, not necessarily on the bandwidth front, but certainly on the connectivity front. But if you take a look, urban government schools are still very good by and large, particularly, I mean, Delhi is a case in point. I think the AAP government has done phenomenally well, the way they've completely revolutionized government education in urban India. But if you look at rural India, which you very correctly mentioned, the Bharat part of our world, I think there the quality of schools, the quality of infrastructure, and the quality of teachers, even if you have them, first of all, if they attend schools, that itself is an enormous challenge.
Yeah.
So perhaps now, instead of, because infrastructure was never spent in the schools or whatever it was, money was wishfully corrupted away, you know, whatever was supposed to reach them didn't reach. Teachers were never there. They just to take the salaries. And I'm talking, this is actually factual. It's not a critique. I'm just saying these are factual matters. So maybe now, so in an environment like this, when you don't need to invest very heavily in a school infrastructure, right? And the teacher doesn't have to be there, but it has to give a class for accountability through the digital media. It will inform a better quality of education. So I think maybe there's a silver lining in this. You know, sometimes when you're at a stage when you're trying to implement something, you're not able to do it. There's so many challenges, and something happens providentially, and per force you have no choice but to do it. I think we're confronting a situation like that.
Quite correct. But I would like to go with the Professor Mishra. We have started giving online classes in far off places like Chandausi, Najibabad. We found a very different kind of a problem out there. The school's infrastructure is very good. If you see Silverstone School of Chandausi or St. Mary's, Najibabad, they've got everything. They've got smart boards, everything. Good teachers also. But when we were delivering the online courses, the student parents, they came to the school, they said, इनके खाली पापा के पास smartphone है, and internet speed was not at all good. So I think internet speed, and plus till 3 months back in rural India or even urban India, we were not giving the phones to the kids to touch our phones. Now we are asking them to use those phones. So kid is also a bit surprised.
Championing this whole because many times, you know, as an administrator, we face these kind of questions that a lot of my teachers also ask. That बच्चे phone लेके आते हैं and they have this problem and they have that problem, and I have always told them that, listen, if you're going to try to beat them, you will not be able to beat them. Different generation, right? I think if we can't beat them, we need to join them. And we need to make these smartphones an educational tool. And I've been saying this for the last 3-4 years.
I agree. I agree.
Why can't you make smartphones an educational tool? They will not have time to look at the Facebook or anything if you are using it as a tool in a classroom or any kind of a teaching format. So I think there is this time lag that every generation gets stuck because everybody feels that this generation kuch nahi karega. They have nothing. They can't do anything. I have never felt that way. I feel that this is the generation that will build India. This is a great generation. Its problem is that
Exactly.
we are frozen in time, and we're not even understanding the level at which these guys are at this point in time.
Yeah, you know that we live in a very technology savvy world, and technology is being disruptive, being creative, even as we speak. So there's an opportunity, perhaps, you never know, you can easily create a junior cell phone version, a smartphone just for juniors, which have very limited facilities.
Very right.
The government can cross-subsidize that, with the cell phone operators and just supply it.
Yes. I think that would be a wonderful thing. Chetan, what I have seen, there were a lot of watchmen I stay in CR Park. Sir, because the Zio phone, they learned so nicely, they started booking their tickets through our IRCTC website. And Professor Mishra, now they have become computer operators in Nehru Place. Mm-hmm. That technology, I think you are very right, Professor Mishra, we should give them. And I agree with Chetan Sahab, we can make maybe a junior version of Facebook. Maybe they can connect themselves with maybe a thoda admin and thoda policing rahe usme. I agree with you. Yes, Jha Sahab, your last comment, then the rapid fire.
See, Pranav, I just want to make one statement. There is always a group of people who will create that fear of technology, that it is disruptive, it's going to be damaging, it's going to create job losses and those kind of. I think we need to rise above those things. Technology is always good. If you're not going to accept it, you're going to be forced to accept it at one point, right? Without a choice. I don't feel that advances in technology lead to job losses. What they lead to is a change in the type of jobs that are there. So old type of jobs get lost, and new type of jobs get created. So either there is no problem with the new generation. The older generation, we have to have programs of training and retraining into new skills. I think we should be very open to adapting to new technology. That's the way of the future. We can't say that we are not going to do it.
Very true.
Well, if you talk about in Indore, the children or students, they are using smartphones, and it is not. We only talk about. Even we ask them to bring on certain days, bring your mobiles, smartphones, because we are going to give you certain exercises to do it on that. So if you monitor them well, and if you give them the liberty to use it, because sometimes if you have that much of control, they try to go beyond that control. So have some faith on them, because they are using those smartphones at home.
Yes.
And the parents, they go out and they don't know what the child is doing in his own room. So definitely they are using it. So develop some faith and ask them to utilize it as a tool for their learning, and they definitely use it. Because my class 6th child has made one app for this coronavirus, and that app that was covered by the media also.
Okay.
So they are using technology very nicely. They are learning through various videos available on internet. It is not that everybody is misusing it, and unless you develop that faith in your child, it is not going to happen. If you have that much of restriction, if you put them under control, only the monitoring them well and having faith on them, they could definitely utilize this as a tool, and that would definitely help them in learning process. So because this technology has to be used nowadays for better learning. It is no way to go out
Yes, we agree.
away from that. So you have to use it.
Correct. I agree with Mr. Jha and with Professor Mishra. When the new technology comes, these kind of things happen. A principal from Bangalore, she was quoting in the morning, when the radio came, a lot of people made hue and cry that it will kill people. It will hold riots in the country and abroad. So I think we'll have to learn to deal with these things. And thank you so much. I think all the learned members are on the same page. We'll just have a small rapid fire round. We'll ask three questions from each. Just answer in one word. Jha Sahab, which is your favorite day of the week?
Every day is my favorite. There is nothing as such.
Still you have to answer a specific day.
During this period of time?
No. General.
In general.
Yeah.
So the Monday is always my favorite day.
Okay.
Because after a day,
okay,
when I come back to my workplace on Monday, that is always refreshing and wonderful.
Professor Mishra, what do you enjoy more, texting or talking?
Talking.
Okay. Chetan, do you ever post inspirational quotes on social media? If yes, which is your favorite quote?
Education is a lifelong exercise. Be open to learning.
Okay, great. Jha Sahab, if you were given the opportunity to fly into space, given today's technology, would you take it?
Definitely, I would love to go to this space.
Okay. Professor Mishra, if you were to write a journal, what will you prefer, paper and pen or a laptop computer?
I still prefer paper and pen.
Okay. Chetan Sahab, who inspires you the most?
The mirror.
Okay, good one. Jha Sahab, if you could push a button and make everyone in the world 7% happier, but it would also place a worldwide ban on all hairstyling products, would you push it?
I push a button to make the world happier, and then next.
If you could push a button and make everyone in the world happier by 7%,
okay,
but it would also place a worldwide ban on all the hairstyling products, would you push it?
The hairstyling product is going to.
It will be, all the hair products will be banned.
Definitely, if it is going to make the people happier, even by 7%, I would try to push the button.
Okay. Mishra sir, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
I would be a rabbit.
Okay. And why?
Because you can be anywhere. You can be eating grass, you can be a vegetarian, you can enjoy yourself.
Okay. The last question now to Mr. Chetan Sharma. What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame?
Yeah. If I had
in some other domain,
15 minutes of fame, I would do my own version of Man Ki Baat.
Okay. Thank you so much, all of you. Thanks, Mr. Uttam Kumar Jha, Principal, Chaitram International Indore. Thanks, Professor Kamlesh Mishra, Vice Chancellor, Rishihood University, Sonipat. Thanks, Mr. Chetan Sharma, Editor-in-Chief, India Ahead News. Thank you, everyone.